Hey VC, it's Jonathan, your cheap and cheerful record collector. I hope everybody's doing well out there today. Now the stores are open here in Maine. We're back digging and shopping. I'm going to Goodwills and thrift stores and regular record shops and wearing my mask and enjoying getting out a little bit. So got a lot of stuff to show. Got a lot of records I picked up recently. I'm going to start off with jazz, I got blues, I got country, I got rock, lots of stuff. I did some digging with Brian from Shamrock and Records. I did some digging on my own. Went to a guy's barn up north and been all over the place. So let's get into it. First off is, I wouldn't say it's a grail, but it's something I've been looking for a long time, and I'm real happy to find a copy of it. And it's Charles Mingus, and this is, oh yeah. This is a 1975 repress of his 1962 release. It's a nice stereo repress on Atlantic. Regular green and red Atlantic label. Fantastic album. Has Mingus. On this one, Mingus for the first time doesn't play bass on this album. He plays piano. And he sings, which is really cool. A lot of bluesy kind of things on this album, which I really love. It's with him, Rashawn Roland Kirk, Booker Irvin, Jimmy Nepper on trombone, Doug Watkins playing bass, and Denny Richmond, of course, on drums. And really enjoyed this album. I've been looking for this for a long time. He actually sings a couple of songs on it. Sort of chants and sings a little bit. And it's just great. Hog Callin' Blues, Devil Woman, one of my favorite. Eat That Chicken. Oh Lord, Don't Let Them Drop the Atomic Bomb on Me. So great album from 1962. A beautiful 1975 stereo repress, which I picked up. Really love that. Then with the jazz, what we're listening to in the background is something I picked up the other day. This is Wes Montgomery, and this is called So Much Guitar, with Hank Jones, Ray Barretto, Ron Carter, and Lex Humphreys. This one is a 1986 release of a 1961 issue. So 1986, it's a OJC, which is an original jazz classic on Riverside. There's the OJC. So it's like virtually brand new, plays perfectly. I'm really happy with this. And Wes, of course, is an amazing guitar player. And Ray Barretto adds a lot of nice percussion to it. Beautiful record. Then I said I was up in this guy's barn up about an hour north of me. And he had the barn really, his garage basically was set up like a record store. He had racks and he had all the records set up. And you could stand up and go through them. He had plastic sleeves on everything. And everything was priced. And they were priced. He asked me the pricing. I said, well, if you're a retail store, the prices would be fine. For someone digging in a garage, I think it's a little high. So he gave me a deal, which was fine. So I didn't pay as much as he wrote on the records, but I got some good stuff. Jerry Mulligan. This is a mainstream of jazz. Jerry Mulligan and a sextet. This is I love these Mulligan albums I got. I got them all here on my iPad here, so I can look up the dates. This one is originally 1956. This is a repress. I'm not sure exactly when. It doesn't say. But it's with Jerry Mulligan, Zoot Sims, John Erdley, Don Ferraro, Bobby Brookmeyer, and Bill Crow and Dave Bailey on drums. Beautiful record on MC. I'm sorry, MRC is the Blue Mercury label. They're part of Mercury Group. Great baritone sax player. While I was there, I grabbed another Jerry Mulligan album. This is Jerry Mulligan, a profile on again on Mercury, also from that era. Similar band. This on the black Mercury label, as you can see, the black Mercury label. Also beautiful album. Does some Duke Ellington medley, which I really love. Does Making Whoopee. Love me some Jerry Mulligan. Also picked this one up because it was so cheap I couldn't say no. It's a Dave Brubeck quartet. It's a repress featuring albums he put out in the 50s and 60s. One of them is a from the Dave Brubeck quartet at Carnegie Hall. The other one is Brubeck in Amsterdam. And yeah, and those two records basically put together on this nice gatefold package. There's the band. I don't have to go into Dave Brubeck. Everybody knows Dave Brubeck, great piano player, and Paul Desmond playing saxophone with him, obviously. So, nice 2-record set. Picked up really cheap and in really good condition, so I really love that. This one was a sort of surprise to me. I knew Eddie Harris, but this is one of his earlier albums, Mighty Like a Rose. On VJ, on the old label the Beatles recorded on originally. It's a VJ red label. And this he does My Buddy, Willow Weep For Me, God Bless the Child, which is fabulous. Just a great, great album. Tenor saxophone player. Also, you know, you wouldn't know the people. It doesn't matter. Great record. Really enjoyed this one a lot. Then I went to a antique mall that was 3 stories tall, and a lot of booths are selling records. And I seem to find that in antique malls, you either get deals or it's ridiculously priced. Either the guy has no idea what they have and they put out records for $1 or $2 and you find some gems, or you have a guy who thinks everything is gold nowadays because it's vinyl and they put it out for $10 or $12. So you see Barbra Streisand albums and Johnny Mathis albums for $10 or $12 and beat to hell, and you're, what the hell is that? Or you see a booth where the guy really doesn't know much about it all, just knows their records, he puts them out for $1 or $2 and you find deals. These are the deals I found. This is Jam Session. This is a Verve record. This is, again, a repress from 1986, I think it was, from a 1950s album. This is Jam Session 1. Norm Granz was the head of Verve Records. And he would put together, get the musicians and put them together and take them on the road. And they would play concerts all over. And then he put together this album, a number of albums of musicians from them. So this album includes Charlie Parker, Johnny Hodges, Benny Carter, Ben Webster, Ray Brown, Barney Kessel, Oscar Peterson. It's fantastic. Original is worth a lot of money, but this is not an original. But sounds beautiful, really great condition, and really love this one. And again, love the cover. Jam Session number 1. I think they put out 7 different Jam Session albums. There's the basic Verve label. So I got this one, and then they also had another one I grabbed, which is Jam Session number 4. A totally different group of musicians. And this has Count Basie as the main leader of the band, playing piano, obviously, with Freddie Green on guitar, Buddy Rich on drums, Wardell Gray on tenor sax, and also Stan Getz. So another fantastic record, another reissue, non-original, but I don't care. It didn't cost much, and it sounds fantastic. Picked up this one. I was sort of hesitant, but I went for it, and I'm happy I did. Got this at Goodwill last week. And this is Herb Alpert and Hugh Masekela. And the reason I got it, obviously, is because for Hugh Masekela, not for Herb Alpert. And the album is definitely heavily skewed towards Hugh Masekela. Both trumpet players, Hugh Masekela from South Africa, and brings a lot of great soul and funk to this album, besides loving the cover, which is great. On A&M, which is Herb Alpert's label. Not sure the date on this. I could probably look it up quickly. Maybe. Maybe not so quickly. All right, doesn't matter. Not that important. Here it is. 1978. But really good African rhythms and great playing by Herb Alpert and Hugh Masekela. That's it for the jazz. Now we're going to the rock. This record I saw at a local record store. Had never seen it before, but obviously I knew the person, so I jumped all over it. It's a UK pressing, and it is Elvis Costello, and it's called Out of Our Idiot. And Elvis Costello rare and unreleased cuts, which he recorded under different names: Napoleon Dynamite and the Royal Guard, The Emotional Toothpaste, The Coward Brothers, etc. Some great songs in here. It also features Nick Lowe on a couple of cuts. Original inner sleeve. And a very cool little label. This is a great album. It's like I said, the cuts from other stuff that was never released. There's one with Jimmy Cliff on it. I think, from what I can tell, it's right around the same time that this album was released, which I just picked up also recently. Mighty Like Blood and Chocolate, because it mentions Napoleon Dynamite on here, and that's, you know, Elvis under Napoleon Dynamite, and it's Napoleon Dynamite on here, so I assume they're recorded around the same time. This is a fantastic album. I've had this on CD for years, and I'm so happy to get this on a nice vinyl copy, really clean. One of his more challenging albums for sure, but the first song, Uncomplicated, the album is not uncomplicated. It's pretty complicated, but it's pretty great. I love it. Blue Chair, Battered Old Bird, Hope You're Happy Now, Tokyo Storm Warning, I Want You. Just great. Great stuff. So those are the two Elvis albums I picked up recently. Another one I picked up, which I've been looking for a while. I'm still missing one of theirs. And this is the Traveling Wilburys. Probably the greatest supergroup ever put together, I think. This is their album number 1. And their second album was actually number 3, because they never had a number 2. Nothing needs to be said about this group. Everybody knows everybody in this group. And has Tweeter and the Monkey Man, which I love. Handle with Care, Dirty Word, Last Night, Not Alone Anymore. Just great, great stuff. So real happy to get this on vinyl to add to my collection. And I said I'm still looking for their second album, Traveling Wilburys number 3. I picked this up just because how could you let it sit there? And it's the Music Explosion, A Little Bit of Soul, stereo copy. Unfortunately, we would much rather have the mono, but I'll take what I can get. And on the Laurie Records label. And this is a great garage band album. It's better than I expected. I thought it would be like one of those albums where the head song, the lead song, the hit song, A Little Bit of Soul would be it, and everything else would be filler. But they do great version of where is it? Well, others. They don't have a list of songs on here, which is so bizarre. You have to go to the record label to find the songs. 96 Tears. That's it. A great version of 96 Tears. As well as some other stuff on it. So this was a pleasant surprise. Much better than I expected. I picked it up because it was cheap. I mean, the jacket sleeve is split on top. I didn't really care that much. The record's in pretty clean condition. And it's from the 60s, 68, I think. Great record. Great garage rock. Next one, another album by a group that was basically a one-hit wonder, at least here in America. And it was the Troggs, Wild Thing. And this is from 76, 10 years after Wild Thing came out, called the Trogg Tapes. And again, I got it just because it was inexpensive and it was the Troggs, and I figured, what the heck? It's great. It's real. They do Walking the Dog on here, down south to Georgia. It's wonderful. I mean, there's some great rock and roll on here. I was really surprised. I mean, they certainly are not a one-hit wonder. So, the Troggs tapes from 1976. Joe Ely, Live Shots, another UK pressing. A live album, obviously, that's why it's called Live Shots. Joe Ely, Fingernails, Honky Tonkin', I Had My Hopes Up High, Midnight Shift. Great live album. Sort of that rockabilly pub rock kind of sound. Nice original inner sleeve. So I love that Joe Ely, which is sort of interesting because, you know, it's Texas music, and this was recorded in London and then back to, then I bought it in Maine. So an international copy there. This record I've been looking for a long time. Trying to find a nice clean copy. I hadn't listened to it in many years. I'm talking 30, 35 years before, in between listens. And I was happy to pick up Jefferson Airplane, After Bathing at Baxter's. I totally didn't realize how psychedelic this album is. This is a great psych album. No one talks about this album a lot. And it is just wonderful. I'm really happy with it. I knew about it. I had listened to it, as I said, back in the day when it first came out in the 60s. And always liked it. And somehow I just didn't have it in my collection. So I'm real happy to add this in. Great Slick, you know, Kantner, Yorma, Jack Cassidy, the whole gang. What a great record, though. A really not talked about a lot psych album. After Bathing at Baxter's, Jefferson Airplane. I found one soul album, which I grabbed, and performance is great. The recording is really atrocious. And it's Otis Redding live in Europe. Performances with the Booker T and the MGs backing them up. Live recording. It's fantastic. I mean, the emotion, the singing, the performance is just first rate. Triple A. The recording is C at best. Terrible recording. And I don't think it's this pressing. This is a repress on Atco. But someone did say that they did re-release this recently for Record Store Day a couple of years ago, and it still sounded pretty crummy. So I think it must be the original recording just wasn't really good. But a great performance on this album. Love me some Otis. Picked up this is a blues album. It's called Blues Avalanche. And it was recorded live in Montreux Jazz Festival in Switzerland in 1984, I think it was. Well, let's put it this way. The album was released in 84. Let me see if I can find when it was actually recorded. Right here. Recorded 72, I'm sorry. 1972 in Montreux, Switzerland. And it features Bo Diddley, Muddy Waters, Coco Taylor, T-Bone Walker, Lafayette Leak, Willie Dixon, Jimmy Reed, 2-record set. And again, it's weird how some live recordings are like crummy, like that Otis Redding, and this live recording is like top notch. They sound great. It's a great album, 2-record set. Bo Diddley does I Hear You Knockin'. Willie Dixon does You Can't Judge a Book by Its Cover. Muddy Waters does Early in the Morning, and County Jail, and Trouble No More, and Got My Mojo Working. Jimmy Reed, Baby What You Want Me to Do. Willie Dixon does Wang Dang Doodle, and I Got What It Takes. Also with Coco Taylor singing. So I was real happy to get this really fun blues album. Speaking of blues, picked this up the other day. Again, couldn't let it sit there. James Cotton Band live. Not live, High Energy is called. And again, this was a great find. I'm really happy with this. One song has Alan Toussaint on it, which is really great. Right? Has that real New Orleans funk to it. And the guitar player, I can't read it because it's in different. Oh, Matt Murphy. Matt Guitar Murphy plays the guitar on here. And this is very funky blues album, much funkier than I expected it. But again, I think it's from mid 70s, and it's top notch, man. It's great. Like I said, more soul and funk than straight up blues, but wow, really happy with this. Great record. I have a manual turntable, so I gotta lift the needle up at the end of the album. All right, then this is a guy who I knew from his duet work in the mid '60s and late '60s with his wife, a Canadian couple. They were called Ian and Sylvia, and eventually they broke up, and he went on his own. And this is an album that Ian Tyson put out called Old Corrals and Sagebrush. Again, I took a chance on it because I knew him from Ian and Sylvia. This is great cowboy music. I mean, just wonderful stuff. Back cover. If you like not really country western, more cowboy music, you gotta check out some Ian Tyson. Really like this record. I was really impressed by it. Just basic Columbia label. But yeah, Ian Tyson. The rest are all country. Next one, controversial figure in the country world, Johnny Paycheck. But I love this. This is on Little Darlin', his early stuff. This is a compilation of a lot of his singles he put out on Little Darlin' Records. And I think it's great. All the Time, Apartment Number 9, Is This All I Mean to You, Make the World Go Away. Only one unfortunate song on here. For some reason, they decided to record a copy of Danny Boy, and it's just embarrassing. It's terrible. But the rest of the record's great. Release Me, Green Green Grass of Home. Johnny Paycheck, the original Mr. Heartbreak. Glad to grab this one too the other day. The Highwaymen. This is their first album. Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson. It's a good album. It's a little too overproduced for me. I like my country a little raw. But a great group, great super group. I'm still looking to get their second album, which I had and then traded away. So now I got to find another copy of it. But yeah, this is and this is also an English pressing. English pressing or German? English, UK pressing. This one I really didn't know much about it. I knew the singer obviously, but I didn't know this album. I figured I'd give it a chance. And it's George Jones Sings the Blues. And it's not really blues, it's country, but it's with a blues tinge, shall we say. Singing the Blues, Ragged But Right. Anyway, Hearts in the Dream. It's great. I really enjoyed this. It was really good. On Mercury, again, I think it's a later repress on the Mercury label. But George No Show Jones, everyone knows about him. But this is early stuff, and his voice is really top notch, and it's a good album. Really enjoyed that. And the next one is the master himself, Johnny Cash. This is one of the first concept albums, and this is Johnny Cash Ride the Train. As they say, a stirring travelogue of America in song and story. With a great hype sticker. And this is an original 6i, Columbia 6i. So I don't know if it's a first pressing, but it's certainly an early pressing. And he just tells the story of America through the trains and how trains help settle America. And sort of talks about it and then sings songs about it. It's sort of a fun record for sure. But happy to pick that up for sure. Johnny Cash, Ride This Train. And last but not least, this is an artist that, another country artist that I rarely see records of. And whenever I do, I grab them because they're so rare, at least around here and up in the Northeast. And it's Merle Travis, one of the great guitar pickers of all time. And this is the best of Merle Travis. Obviously a comp on Capitol Records. It's the cheap Starline pressing, so it's not, you know, not worth a heck of a lot, but some great stuff in here. 16 tons, John Henry, Dark as the Dungeon, 9-pound hammer, I Am a Pilgrim. So just great, great stuff by the great guitar picker, Merle Travis. And that's all I got. I got a lot of new subscribers recently, so I really want to thank everybody who takes the time out to watch my silly little videos. Again, hope everybody's doing well and staying safe, wearing your masks, only going out when you really need to. Let's defeat this thing, and so we can get our lives back the way they should be. Okay, have fun digging out there, and until next time, peace.